Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 223. Hello out there, I am your host Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me here as always, except when he's not, is BT Calloway.
Hi.
And joining us all the way from the great state of Ohio is Ryan Duncan.
Hey everybody! Heck, we'll add an extra layer to it. I'm coming from a suburb of Cincinnati, even though it's definitely not a suburb of Cincinnati.
Got excited for a second there. Cincinnati.
Yeah, so this is, of course, the podcast where we review Simpsons old and new, and lately we've just been doing single episode reviews, and I asked Ryan what should we review, and yeah, this couldn't have been more perfect. An episode briefly about Cincinnati, but more about the journey over there.
Yeah.
But you can help us out with some of the local humor that may have gone over our heads in this episode.
Whoosh.
Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, I will say, at least it says The Road To in the title.
Yeah.
Because if it was called, like, A Romp in Cincy, I'd be like, well, they're not even really in Cincy. So.
And yes, today we just watched Season 32, Episode 8, The Road to Cincinnati. First released in November of 2020, it was directed by Matthew Nastuk, written by Jeff Westbrook. In this episode, the Simpsons are on the sideline, and it is a Skinner and Chalmers-focused road trip episode where, of course, they are on the road to Cincinnati. And Ryan, our special guest, I've got to ask, do you have that many types of chili in Cincinnati?
Yeah, so...
5? Who could keep up?
Okay, would you guys like a little history behind it?
You know
what is this reference? Yeah.
So Cincinnati is a part of the German Triangle in the United States. So Cincinnati, Chicago, Milwaukee, they form like a triangle where a lot of German, Greek, like second wave settlers, so like later in the U.S. history. So the first wave, a lot of English people, and then the second wave, a lot of Eastern Europeans, Germans, Greeks, Italians. So this chili definitely has a Greek influence because it's like they add cinnamon to it.
Ooh.
It's not really chili. It's like a chili sauce because you put it on everything. You don't really just eat it by itself. Like, you know how like full chili you can eat by itself because
it is a meal.
Yeah, this is a full on just a sauce that you put on things like a hot dog, spaghetti, as they joked about, and you can put it on anything. Like, it's the irony today. We got Skyline for lunch today. I had a coney, and my wife had a chiliito. So it's I
understood none of those words.
Yeah.
And I love lunch.
All right, chilito I can work out, like chili burrito, I'm guessing. But what was the first one? A coney?
Yeah, just a hot dog, mustard, cheese, chili.
Wow, this all sounds amazing. Like, because chili's not such a big thing over in Australia.
It's hot enough, damn it.
Fair.
Texas hot chili. Yeah. No, we don't need that at the moment. But, I mean, like, you can get it some places. But, yeah.
It's not a national obsession.
It's definitely a regional thing here for sure. It's like, you know, if really you talk to people outside of this, like the Cincinnati tri-state area, people like mock it quite a bit. So that leads me to believe that somebody on the Simpsons writer staff is from Cincy. Like, because I will say they do a pretty good job. Like, I really enjoyed, like, one of my notes is I liked how the skyline looked. I thought they did a really good job of like, that is my skyline. That is the city I see. Pete Rose joke is great because you got to be a Reds baseball fan to get that joke. You're not going to know.
Not being a Reds fan or a baseball fan.
I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, so, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, I vaguely recognize the name Pete Rose. Who's he?
So he has the most hits in baseball history, more than any other player for Major League Baseball. He is not in the Hall of Fame because he was caught gambling on games.
Right.
And here's the thing. This is the progression of it. When I was a kid, my dad never thought he gambled. Oh, no, Pete didn't do that. That's bullshit. As I got older, it was, he gambled, but he always bet on the Reds to win. And then now it's eventually gotten to the point where it's like, he probably was
throwing
games. Pete is a great example of like baseball history. A lot of the greatest players are shitbags. That is just, you're good at baseball, you're a bad person. I don't know why that's like ingrained into the DNA of the sport.
No, because we never have football controversies over here.
But no, I remember when I did Pods in the Kia Springfield.
Like and subscribe.
they had me on for a special episode where they did like a Where Are They Now of all the players that were in the softball episode, and my God, there's some deplorable people in that.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I think it is fair to say when you look at that episode specifically, Ken Griffey Jr. might be the only good guy of that episode, like legitimately good person, because he never took steroids, he never like did anything bad. He's just a dad, like he just plays baseball and he was good at it. Yeah,
and I think he's still got the baseball video game franchise as well. So hasn't had anything stripped of him like a former Hall of Famer Pete Rose or.
No, he never got in.
No.
They banned him, which my dad loves Pete, so this one will always hurt him because it is harsh because like the reason baseball punished him because Pete denied it, and so it's kind of like that. You lie about it. Your lying is worse than the crime. Like just admit it.
Yeah.
You'll get a suspension for like a year. Now he denies it. And they kicked it. Like the commissioner of the time said, you will never get into the Hall of Fame, and they've never like reversed that rule. And like our assumption is like when Pete Rose dies, they'll change it. They just don't want Pete to get that like accolade in life.
Yeah.
Because it's weird that like the dude who has the most of something in your sport, that's a good thing, isn't in your Hall of Fame. Like if he had the most
and
bad,
like didn't take steroids or anything, it was not a performance.
It's the gambling thing, but gambling in sports is such a
there are so many apps for it. It's hard to believe it used to be a problem.
Yeah.
Get help, everybody.
Oh, that's still the thing that I'm shocked about is that, in football games, I don't know if it's the same for you over there, but in football games in Australia, which a lot of kids watch, there's ads for multiple different sports betting apps.
Not
like,
even
during
football
the
games. There are, like, I watch YouTube, I get hit by 7 different sports bet apps, and it's like, shut the fuck up, I hate all of them.
I kind of am, like, okay with it now because I think when it's illegal, it's that taboo thing of like you don't want to try it. Where
more my problem of how heavily saturated the advertising is that if someone has a problem, it's inescapable for this very tempting product to be brought right to your face. It's like like someone walking up to an alcoholic and just going, vodka, free vodka, just take it.
Yeah, and then I think that goes to show you the quality of the episode because we've been talking for like almost 10 minutes, and we've like barely gotten into the minutia of it, which is
well, I mean, I guess that sort of kicked off what stood out to you, Ryan, a lot of local references, but turning it to you, BT, what stood out to you from this episode, for better or worse?
There were some okay moments in here. I'm just trying to think if I want to go for better or for worse. I'm going to go for mixed. I do like when they go to the biker bar, but when they go inside, it's all cyclists. That really got me. I like that a lot. Because it was the typical dorky guys go to a biker bar and try to fit in. What I didn't like is when Skinner then goes, "Sir, this isn't a motorcycle bar. This is a cyclist." It's like, I know! I got it! So... I hated that whole, like, I think that midsection's probably the biggest stinker of the episode. Like, I think it opens good, closes good, just, I hate everything once they get into the bar. Everything after it I was not a big fan of, but the misdirection got me.
Yeah, same. This is kind of my big overall point with this episode, that this episode doesn't have a lot of faith in the audience's base level intelligence. Like you said, they literally spell out what the joke is, and then they do another thing like this when they switch jackets and Chalmers notices the stuff in the pocket isn't his speech, and then he literally says, "Oh my goodness, the jackets have been switched."
No, he opens up the collar, he reads Skinner's name, then he says...
And reads,
And then he says that to the audience as well. I was like, okay, we've got it, dude, don't worry.
Like, the joke is not the overdoing of it. It's them just telling us, like, you can do a joke where the joke is, like, it's happening too much. But I'm with you, Elliot. The jacket thing is, like, just have it where he pulls it out of the pocket. It's not his speech. And it's like, oh, no, that's it. You don't have to tell us.
And if you really have to sell it, have him check the name in the back of the collar. And that, if you still haven't got it, you probably have bigger problems.
Yeah, because, that's sort of, like, at the core of my problem with this one is that, it doesn't have faith in the audience to get some basic premises. And then some of the jokes are a bit overstretched, overwrought, and like...
Well, it's weird they have this problem of not trusting the audience to get a joke and then have a bunch of niche references to it.
Exactly. I'm not going to be sitting next to you watching the episode to tell you all the Cincinnati references.
Yeah. Like, I'm glad those references are there, but then, don't over-explain the other jokes and then just assume I don't understand anything about Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Just be like, let us Google it.
Totally.
I'll say something like good. I really love that fight in the bed and breakfast between the two of them.
Yeah, same.
Because it feels like it's been building up for years.
Yeah.
Like, for them to finally throw hands, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so this is... I'll balance that out with a note for good, is that, I think that fight, I agree, was good. And at that moment, when Chalmers goes, Skinner, and he realizes that he poisoned Principal Finch or whatever, I was like, oh my God, thank you for not making this episode just a barrage of Skinner jokes. It could have been
they
very...
showed restraint, shockingly.
Yeah, so...
I gotta ask you guys, do you think it's a betrayal of his character that he poisons,
Yes.
put black mold in somebody's food?
Yeah.
If it might have been like a laxative, I think I might have been forgiving. No, it's black mold in somebody's food.
That is just way too underhanded for Skinner.
Yeah. Maybe if Bart did it.
Yeah.
Because Bart gave the speech. So, maybe something to nudge Skinner along. I
guess, if Bart, had a role in it, I'll take care of it, and then Skinner can sort of claim innocence, and then...
Yeah, he didn't do the poisoning, but he aided and abetted, effectively.
Yeah. That'd be an easy fix, because, you're right, it's not in Skinner's character at all to do that. And I gotta say, a bit of lazy writing as well, he drugged him, and that's why he's not there.
To me, the first time I watched this episode, I was like, okay, he had food poisoning. No big deal. It happens. The food he tried wasn't very good. It wasn't prepared correctly. That layer of he got poisoned, no, it's too much.
Yeah. I wasn't sitting there worrying about, well, this is just absurd. Who gets food poisoning the day before a big trip?
Although I did chuckle, a little bit of a gross chuckle for firing salmon eggs from both ends.
No, that was great. And if Skinner doesn't poison him, it's believable that he was paying attention to the Instagram, Snapchat story, whatever. But now it's Skinner knew he was going to be sick, and that's why he showed.
Black mold.
But anyway, playing Principal Finch as well was Hannibal Buress.
Really talented guy.
Pops up all over the place. It's weird.
Yeah, just sort of a fine role. I don't think they gave him a lot to do here.
No,
which is...
He's a bit part. It's fine.
I don't know. Recently, I've been sharing that, image of him saying, haha, this sucks. There's been a lot of crappy things in the news, and that's, the perfect encapsulation of it. And
yeah,
I wish they would have gave him more. It's weird to have him in an episode, and he's barely in it. He's a funny dude.
Yeah,
the whole plot probably should be him and Skinner fighting for control of who gets to be principal.
Yeah. Well, something I did kind of like to this is when they start the final credits crawl and they do, the main Simpson cast weren't in it as the usual characters, but they did find other roles for them to fill.
Yes.
Which I think was good for a kind of a different sort of episode with a road trip vibe. And so the idea that they had guest stars in smaller parts in this one, I kind of felt gelled with that. It was more cameos on the road, basically.
Yeah, and I feel like having The Simpsons and that weird fourth act post-credits sort of scene going, oh, so what were you up to this week? I feel like that kind of undermined that. Again, I just wish they sort of had a bit more faith in the story that they could do, a Skinner-Chalmers romp where, Bart's in the establishing thing, and then, fill the rest of the cast out in the cameo roles for the rest of it.
We've said this a lot. It's been 32 years. You can branch out. You don't have to stick with the core cast. We're going to be accepting of, trying different formulas of characters to see what clicks.
It has to feel like at this point, okay, there are contractual obligations that
they definitely have to put, we've said before that, sometimes Bart and Lisa only have one or two lines and it feels like a contractual obligation. But I guess as long as the actor still has a role in the episode, that's still contract fulfilled. So that's why they had, big characters for everybody. But that said, it helped give the episode a different vibe. And I like that.
Oh, definitely. I think that's probably why, even though it's season 32, my expectations are higher, because I think you do have a good pairing of characters that makes sense to put on the road, and it's just a little disappointing when it doesn't work out that way.
Oh, man. I think we've
Hang
lost.
on a second, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, we've lost Elliot. Oh, where are we going to get another one?
Well, if you come to Dayton, Ohio, where I'm actually nearby, there's a Elliot on every corner. White man with a beard.
And we are back. Sorry, just a little technical difficulties there. I don't remember where we were exactly in the conversation, but I remember where we were in the questionnaire. So, wackiness. Was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
Not particularly. I don't have any...
I mean, is it wacky with how, like, ridiculously swole those legs are on some of those
I've
cyclists?
seen cyclists who have, like, just the most disgusting legs humanly imaginable, and
one of the superintendent principal pairings had, like, bows and arrows in them, right? Like,
I actually quite enjoyed that joke of, like, does anyone else have that one principal who gets on your nerves and you get, like, a smash cut of the audience? Yeah, and there's, like, they've all just had wacky adventures to get here. I really like that bit.
Yeah, two are wrapped up in a python, the others are wet.
Two are the classic chain gang. And
no, I think because of the pairing of Skinner and Chalmers, they didn't have to go super wacky with it. And it worked because the humor is there between them.
Yeah, there's improbable wacky, not impossible.
Yeah, there are moments where I do appreciate the restraint on it all. Like, and I mean, even with the cyclist gag, there was a mix of, like, obvious jokes, like I didn't like the whole, oh my god, our bike computers, you broke them. But I liked when they were, like, leg wrestling, like arm wrestling, but with their very swole legs.
Oh yeah, a lot of the unspoken jokes worked, which was good. I mean, I do, as much as I didn't like the bike computers, the old, cliche of the nervous guy knocks over one motorcycle, which then dominoes the others, and they did that with the bike computers charging. That I like because it's the cliche, but they found a new way to do it.
Yeah, and also them crashing into the big silo of GMO soybeans and
just the sheriff eating one soybean like a hand fruit.
Oh, there's the wackiest bit of the episode, the Skinner clone. Like,
yes.
The very, like, we're just gonna very slightly change him. Whereas with our Agnes Judge, at least visually, the Agnes Judge is different, looks different than Agnes. So.
Yeah, again, they could have gone full, this is their Bizarro versions, but they look very similar. But yeah, I did like how Skinner's mama's boy sort of part of his personality sort of came in handy here. Again, I feel like they're leaning too heavily on the sort of whipped version of Skinner in this, like, but I do feel like they are touching in on that sort of eager to please thing. But again, it comes down to this episode. There are some wacky beats that I like with the judge and the cuticles. I thought that was actually really funny, but wheelchair veterans ex machina.
Yeah, that was odd. I mean, I do appreciate Skinner's like, well, I can't always carry this brochure of veterans affairs around the country, which I guess he would, but the fact that there was one right there and it took so, like, if he had driven into their picnic or something, instead of, he had time to run over to them, explain the situation, and have them come back and then face down the cyclists. So, I don't know, something like that. Also, they're in a car. Cyclists aren't that fast.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be the joke. Oh, we're just getting away from them very easily. This isn't a problem.
That would have been funny.
I mean, I almost like the bit where they do stop in the middle of a chase for a stop sign. Following rules in the middle of chaos is always a good little bit for me. But yeah, maybe if that had been the point that the cyclists caught up to them, maybe. But
yeah.
I will say when they get in the car, they do the old the stereo's broken. It only plays this one song, which is Timothy by the Boys, which is about cannibalism. For those of you who watch Todd in the Shadows religiously.
Yeah, that's it's not like Alive, that other movie or Yellow Jackets, but it's one of those stories, right? Yeah, have to eat each other to survive, sort of thing.
Yeah, so it's just a weird reference to have. I think they were just looking for old song that no one's really they can get for cheap. But odd choice.
And speaking of one-hit wonders, the Sweet and Ballroom Blitz makes an appearance. Where my note is this a ballroom? Who cares? This fight rules.
Yeah.
Just him getting pressed with a waffle iron. And
I'm sure there's a road trip movie somewhere where they have a fight to Ballroom Blitz. It's,
I did like in the fight, the Terry Bradshaw thing. Terry Bradshaw. And it's like, it's not the Terry Bradshaw you think.
Yeah. I don't know who Terry Bradshaw is, but that joke still worked for me.
He played football for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati don't get along together. It's kind of a little bit of a rivalry, so
Yeah, see, there you go. There's a great example of a joke that works on a surface level. Yeah, I don't know who specifically this person is, but, the joke around it still works, and if you get the reference, then there's something deeper for you. We're always saying that,
And there's another deeperness to it, because I think Terry Bradshaw works at Fox now, like as for the Fox football thing. So, there's extra layers to that.
Yeah, see, I don't know any football player that has not appeared on The Simpsons. So I know Joe Namath, but that's about it.
It was Vaporlock.
Exactly. This is how I know things.
But how about the heart of this episode? How was this? Road trip, people not getting along, learning how to get along. How was that?
It
was like
fine.
but not like full, but not a full.
Yeah.
Because the fact that it's like the two of them realizing that, no, it's Chalmers realizing he likes Skinner, and Skinner wanting that admiration, but yeah, it's not like, I'm not dropping a tear.
That was kind of my issue with it is Chalmers gets to the end and says, I respect him. It's like, you don't have to then like him. You can respect people you don't like. That's fine. It's like, Skinner, I still find you annoying, but you have your place in this school. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
For someone he was about to fire, it's because he didn't like him. That's scumbaggy.
Well, it's kind of funny. It's like there's plenty of reasons to fire Skinner.
Yes.
In the history of The Simpsons, there's plenty of reasons.
Yeah, the classroom after classroom of ugly, ugly children.
Sure, that's not my fault.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of what was disappointing about the extra layer of Skinner drugging Finch there is that,
That's a fireable offense.
Yeah, that and also that, it kind of undermines the betrayal of Chalmers to replace Skinner with Finch anyway. Because, then that would give Chalmers absolute cause to just go ahead with that plan. And from that moment, Finch gets dropped off, with no real, reason why he's not getting this job now and Skinner is. I don't know. That part of the heart didn't quite land for me, even though, I do like, in essence, how Chalmers and Skinner find liking each other by the end of the episode.
Yeah, I even kind of like the helpful heckler who's like, hey, sounds like a good dude.
Sounds like a good guy, you jerk-ass. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. What was it? They've made the joke a couple times about Agnes and Chalmers going on dates before, so...
Oh, yeah.
There's that layer of, Skinner looking for a father figure, and... I think if this gets another pass through, you trim off some of the unnecessary stuff and you work on their relationship more, because that's what makes road trip movies good. A road trip movie is good because it's a literal representation of the transformation of the relationship. You're going from point A to point B, kind of like how a plot works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In that way as well, I do love just the plot points of, them getting Agnes's car because, Skinner's car is out for whatever reason, and then
winterizing.
I was about to say, that's a negative note for me. I hated the winterized joke.
I don't know what it is.
Your rule of three. Well, no, it's just you got to follow the rule of threes. If you're going to bring it up three times.
Yeah, I did. Skinner, Chalmers, and Agnes all had their car winterized.
All right, I'll let it go then. I didn't hear Skinner say his getting...
It's now a good joke.
Right.
But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Is this the show we know and love?
I mean, sure. It's focusing on secondary characters, which I wish they did a bit more of, because they can. Other than Skinner poisoning a guy, nothing feels out of place. It just needs a bit more refinement.
Especially considering a little insight into my life, I've been watching a lot of these later seasons that I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely one that would be closer than a lot that I've watched.
Yeah, for sure.
Simpsons are famous, or maybe infamous at this point, for their road trip, Simpsons go-to episodes.
Yeah.
So for secondary characters to get to go somewhere, totally fine.
Yep.
Outside of the poisoning, they're in character. It's just finding a way to maybe incorporate Bart. If you want to get the guy poisoned, let Bart be the poisoner. Don't let Skinner be the one to do it, because Bart would do that.
Yeah, exactly. And you can write it off that he's 10, he doesn't know better.
And that's how Skinner doesn't know.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it does feel like a Simpsons episode, obviously, even though the Simpsons aren't in it. I'm pretty sure when we reviewed the other Chalmers episode with the real Jims, that it's interesting that they haven't done more Chalmers-focused episodes, because he is quite an interesting character, has an interesting dynamic with Principal Skinner, and I'm totally glad that they went for this. I think that's going to really factor into my rankings here, is that this was a bold move, at least.
I recently watched, I think you guys gave it a pretty good review, Livin' La Perda Vida, the one where they go to Costa Rica. It was weird seeing Chalmers without Skinner. Like, that whole time I'm watching that episode, I'm like, Skinner needs to be there. That dynamic, I think... Here's the thing. You can do Skinner episodes without Chalmers. There's plenty of material there. I don't really know if Chalmers works without Skinner, though. I think as a character, with all the interesting tidbits, his daughter, Shauna, divorce.
They didn't have Shauna in this episode. Interesting.
It's not a divorce. His wife died.
I thought they were divorced. Oh,
no,
God. That's sad.
Because that's the thing. Chalmers has been very subtly developed over a long time. But there is an episode, Bart Smells the Roosevelts, I think it is.
Yeah.
Where he hangs out with Chalmers and there's a photo of his former wife and mentions that she passed away. And that's where... Yeah, and so that's a lot of sudden backstory for a character. So they've started to put more into this character. Of all characters, they've built Chalmers a fair bit in tiny steps over 30 years.
Maybe that's the long game.
Maybe.
This is the longest origin story ever for the Chalmers TV show.
Yeah, the spin-off is not going to be Lenny and Carl. It's going to be Chalmers.
Well, I mean, that's it. And I think there is a lot more depth to that character to mine. And, bring it back to Livin' La Pura Vida, I think it was called, that I think the idea behind that episode is, let's get like 4 families that we don't think have interacted with each other and see how they interact.
Yeah.
So I admire it from that, but I do agree, Ryan, that, Skinner's the obvious counterpart to Chalmers here. And if you're going to do a whole episode on him, it was good pairing him up with the bullies and Bart in Roosevelt's as well. But Skinner was on the periphery in that episode too. So but yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Yeah, I mean, it's not more to get out of it. So there's not really a reason. Laundry, that kind of thing.
I think this is a classic laundry hangover episode. Like, I really...
Yep.
Because I'm taking my bias out of it. Because I'm like, well, I like I like how well they did the sky, how the city looked, and the little jokes there. But at its core, it's something I really like. I mean, I've mentioned this before. The spec script that I've worked on, for The Simpsons revolves around a sequel to, Bart, Milhouse, Martin, and
Nelson road trip.
Nelson, the road trip, but then older. So, like, I like the idea of a Simpsons road trip. But, I've watched this now like twice. I've watched it 3 times because I watched it once for the first time. Then I watched it to show my wife, like, hey, they did one about Cincy, and then I watched it for you guys. And it's like, after this, like this viewing, like, maybe if I put in a playlist, then I'd be fine with it. Like the Chalmers Skinner history. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Episodes around them, the playlist, I'd watch it, but I would not sit down and choose to watch it on its own.
Yeah.
I just had a moment of realizing our long journey of we used to use the hangover test and now we use the laundry test because we're more mature men than we once were.
Well, we were hideously drunk for a few of those first episodes of The Simpsons.
Oh my, especially me.
Oh man, that was a trip when I started watching you guys, and I was doing the backlog. I'm like, holy crap, these boys go hard.
We still do, just not often on pod anymore. But I mean, playlists that this could go in. Obviously the road trips, obviously Skinner's Chalmers playlist. Any other playlists you can think of? Maybe biker bar jokes. Mix this in with that John Goodman biker episode.
You could do that.
You could.
It's weird because this one kind of fits into multiple different playlists. This is a school playlist. Like episodes around the school.
With Fear of Flying.
Oh my god,
true.
Fear of Flying. Another one that I watched recently that was about school that I didn't care for was The Miseducation of Lisa Simpson. That could be a weird back-to-back watching.
Yeah. No, I'm going to say it's going to be the Chalmers ride. So all the various bits of Chalmers.
Chalmers. Yeah, there you go. The Super Nintendo playlist.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but as we said, this episode isn't perfect. Let's explore what we'd like to change. BT, we'll start with you.
Because this doesn't have any intro. It's just the Simpsons clouds and we're in.
Straight in.
That said, I kind of want to get to and it does get to the plot fairly quickly, but to get some breathing space for some of the other stuff we've talked about, I think just skip this whole, poisoning this random other teacher and just have Chalmers being like, oh, I'm obviously going to take the school with the highest test scores, assuming that there's no way that Skinner's going to win that. And then Skinner has found a way to win that by, like,
Lisa.
Not sabotage, but, loophole or something like that. Or, I don't know, like, Chalmers had a congratulations sushi dinner for all the winners, except didn't invite Skinner because he doesn't like him, and then it was bad sushi and everyone got food poisoning, and so that he's only left with, just get to it faster and then cut Skinner poisoning the guy. We all agree that was completely out of character. Yep. And just get to the point a little bit earlier so we can free up some stuff.
Yeah, what would you like to change, Ryan?
I would save Hannibal Buress for a different episode. And I honestly, like, the episode for him, I would just have an episode where, like, Skinner and him are competing to be principal. Like, they're co-principals, and the whole plot is, like, them vying to keep their job. Just something where you get to use Hannibal Buress as a voice actor.
Yeah, an episode where Chalmers might get promoted, and so superintendent position opens up, and it's a battle between Buress and Skinner. Yeah,
something along those lines. But I'd take him out. I would very much reduce the biker stuff because it takes up a good chunk of that runtime.
It is a big chunk, yeah.
To where I think you could use that to develop their relationship further, to explore the dynamic between them. Hell, you could pull the whole Chalmers never had a son thing, so that's why he's always been hard on Skinner. There's a lot there, and they've been doing this for flipping 30 years at this point, so you got the history. Don't be afraid to lean into it. And I don't want to say they should spend more time in Cincinnati, but I don't know, maybe they should spend more time in Cincinnati. Just have them walk around a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love that. I want to learn more about the city.
These nondescript, when they're on the road towards the cyclists, I don't know what part of America that is. That doesn't look like anything.
It's nowhere America.
Yeah, it's weird. Because I did the map. I'm like, okay, it says they're 800 miles away. And I was like, all right, what's 800 miles away from Cincinnati? And it'd be like cornfields or something. Yeah. Just you reduce the biker. I really don't like the biker thing. I would just get rid of it entirely.
For a while, I thought, because, they pick up the improv actors and then they really annoy Chalmers, and that's what causes him to skin off the road. And I thought at some point it's going to be, a sequence of things like that, and then Chalmers is going to blow up at Skinner going, this has been so annoying the entire way, all those improv actors and everything else we have to deal with, and Skinner just go, you picked them up. Like, that was your idea.
BT, I like where you're going with that. Like, you could just have it be everything Chalmers does to try to ignore Skinner ends up biting him in the ass.
Yeah.
And let Chalmers be the one who creates this problem.
Which is, where I thought it was going.
Yeah, I thought the episode was sort of hinting at that, and it's one of these things where, okay, because this episode has a real bad habit of obviously spelling shit out, that if it wasn't obviously spelled out, it was completely unintentional. So I felt like they were hinting towards, because of, his anxiety attack on the plane and blowing up at the improv actors on the road. I thought they were going to hint at that, where it's like, Skinner might be a dork, but you're emotionally, you're a bit unstable here. And you've been a cause of at least half the problems that, have been on that trip. And so I felt like they could have leaned in towards that a bit more, but I worry saying that if they did, then it would have been one of these obvious turning points.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish the conclusion was Skinner just sort of realizing, we don't have to be friends. We just have to be able to work together, and we can work together.
There just has to be respect there. Like you don't have to like a guy, but you can respect him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to double down on my idea of the reason he's taking Skinner is he had like this fancy dinner for all the other principals and didn't invite Skinner, but they all got food poisoning. It's like, well, that's why no one else can go. It's your fault for you held that dinner. You picked up the improv troupe. You had the freak out on the plane. I've just been compensating for everything by being a bit of a dork, and that's your big problem with me.
Yep. And just to wrap out the plane as well, we had another guest star. Jason Bateman was in this episode, very briefly.
Weird game night movie reference. It's an okay movie.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Dang, that is a miss it. I did not catch him in the episode.
No.
That's quick.
I think he's at least a two-man, maybe a three-man. Jason Bateman's been in The Simpsons before, but so I was trying to find like any quick new fun facts that I didn't know about Jason Bateman, and I did. Do you know his father-in-law is star of Treehouse of Horror 4, I think, maybe 6. Anyway, Paul Anka.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, Jason Bateman is married to Paul Anka's daughter.
One's Paul Anka.
He's the one that comes up with the advertising jingle. You know,
Jason
Paul Anka's
guarantee. Jason Bateman inside my daughter tonight.
Oh. I'm sure that's what he's singing.
Yeah,
Anyway.
if you play it backwards.
All right, well, it's time for final notes.
Now it's time, and now it's time for our final notes.
Everyone's final notes.
Lovely
Got a
harmonies there.
accompaniment.
Ryan, do you have any final notes?
I did love the part where he screams, "I'm going to die in a flying zoo," because I am sorry, but there's just some people who have an emotional support animal. It's like, dude, why is there a pig on the flight? No, that's not okay.
No, I remember when we went to Disneyland, just the amount of emotional support dogs everywhere. And I remember one of the people we were traveling with, I believe it was his father-in-law, got in trouble a couple of times for patting them. And it's like, dude, you're not allowed to pat him. It's like, there's a dog there. I want to pat it.
I know it's so tempting, but you're not allowed.
And then the other note that I did not get to bring up was with the improv thing. I love when it's like, your parents must be so proud.
Yeah.
Oh, God. How long I'm just curious, how drunk would you need to be to sit through Shakespeare improv? Because we kind of gloss over the idea of Shakespearean improv sounds atrocious to me.
Yeah.
They're doing a pretty good job of keeping meter on the fly. That's impressive, but it's not fun.
I can't imagine anyone being able to actually do that. Maybe it is a thing.
Skinner did scream something I know you have a feeling on, Elliot, which is like, no one is having fun but you.
Yeah.
To the improv guys. So
Was that all your notes, Ryan?
Yeah, I do want to say, I just realized they were talking about the Cincinnati airline thing. I think that is a very deep cut to the fact that Cincinnati is named after a Roman general, a Roman dictator.
Oh.
The only Cincinnati Airlines flies into Cincinnati when I can't remember what, I think they were making a Romulus and Remus, founding of Rome joke in that, which is good on the writer staff for really digging that in there, but I could be totally wrong.
That's a hell of a reference if it's true.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
How about you, BT? Any other notes?
Yep. Okay, Skinner, if you're looking to improve your high five, you need to stare at the other person's elbow. That actually is the key to a good high five.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so awkward.
It was no one is that bad at high fives, and I felt like it kind of worked by the end of it, but I don't...
Some parts were okay, like Bart going, well, look at you grazing the thumb. That was okay.
They missed the obvious Skinner hurting Chalmers by, smacking him in the... They missed... Instead, it's this awkward, Skinner's hand on his crotch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just do the thing where Skinner hurts his balls. Just do that.
or it slaps his head and then Chalmers has a hand mark on his head. I don't know. Yeah.
There's a spaghetti truck heading to Cincinnati.
I like the spaghetti truck.
We find out that Gary Chalmers is short for Garibaldi.
Yeah, that was one where I liked, that they had the Skinner's conversation topics. What's Gary short for? And then they brought it back. It was actually Garibaldi. I thought that was a good joke.
There we go. And that is all my notes. Elliot, back to you.
Yeah, I don't have too many more. Veteran wheelchair? Go fuck yourself was my note there for that little plot turn. Skinner actually says, you son of a bitch. I don't think I've heard Simpsons say bitch like that before. I know Bart says, bitch. That's what she is. The hi-fi things. Fuck. I had one more note. Nope, I can't remember what it was. All right, well, I think that's all my notes anyway.
Yeah.
It's time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using a 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just, you give it a participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold. But for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Yeah, look, I'm giving this one a bronze. I could have easily gone participant, but I don't think the things that annoyed me about this episode drag it down from the core that I like about it, which is the Skinner Chalmers road trip focused No Simpsons episode. I think it's a bold move, and I think they did enough right to just earn the, it's okay, it's fine.
Yep.
BT.
I walked away from the episode on a participant, but during the conversation and highlighting that exact point, they at least took a chance. They should have backed it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But the fact they got, 2 B characters and put them in, made the whole plot about them, Yeah, that's a good move. I want to see more of it, so I enjoyed enough of it that I will give it a B, a bronze rather. Blair.
A B. Ryan, finish it
Yeah,
up.
how many times have we done this? Good lord.
So I'm gonna echo your guys' sentiment. I want to go with shameful bronze because I like Chalmers and Skinner together genuinely. The fact that they did the Chalmer, that one, I don't know why that worked. Because it shouldn't have worked, but it did.
As Elliot said before, I really respect their restraint, is that the whole way wasn't, well, Skinner, we're on this road trip. Where do you want to stop for dinner?
Yeah.
They did, which they've done so much of.
Yeah,
so thank God they did.
They were restraint.
Yeah.
They had an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. This is not a first draft. I've watched some first drafts recently from The Simpsons. This is like a second or third draft. So I give them credit for that. I would not be shocked if I saw Matt Selman's name at the end of this instead of Al Jean, because I have been noticing that trend. Like the episodes I like on this watch of these later seasons, they got Matt's name in front of it.
Interesting.
So
yeah,
I think we're getting to a point. I mean, Al Jean's got to be getting up there. Like, why does he want to keep doing it? Like, retire, man. You made the money. Like, give somebody else a chance to be showrunner.
Yeah, I've actually heard that he's only showrunning like a quarter, maybe a fifth of the episodes. But like his showrunner in name, but like I've heard anyway that he's passing the duties off to other people. So I think he is probably. I think this is a show that needs multiple showrunners anyway, especially.
Oh, for sure.
Doing 22 episodes a year, like it's a ridiculous workload. Like modern shows don't do that anymore. Like. Most shows are like 10 a season these days. Sorry, I did remember the other note that I wanted to bring up. Yeah, that when Skinner says Chalmers, like, I think they were going for that delivery, but it was just too weak.
Didn't quite land.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be a unanimous bronze, and it is now the second highest episode, ranking episode that we've reviewed from season 32. It's just behind podcast news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Not by much. That's a shiny bronze with a single silver in there. This is, only one rank away from that. Yep. And you know what? If someone went silver on this, I'd be like, yeah, sure, why not?
And if someone went participant on it, I would also understand.
Yeah.
As we've often said, the rankings tend to orbit the correct answer rather than nail it.
Yeah.
I'm going through these because I had it open still. I think this year's season 32's Treehouse of Horror was particularly strong.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed a lot of that. Them doing the Simpsons family in Rome, I think, was pretty clever.
Oh, they traveled to Italy again.
No, it's them back in Roman times. So,
okay.
Yeah, that'll be a fun review. I'm looking forward to you guys watching that one.
Because the last time they tried something like that with going into medieval fantasy, the Serfs
did not work.
I think this is far. I think it's far better than Serfsons.
Right,
I will give you guys that.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I've just noticed that. Sorry, this episode will actually be the third best episode from the season. Our first best is Undercover Burns, that episode where Burns goes undercover in a David Harbour outfit.
Weird, but pretty
good.
A
very silly final act, but a solid episode otherwise.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, that does it for the Simpsons Index today. Thank you for joining us today, Ryan.
Oh, it's always great to be here. I love listening to you guys. I love your guys' commitment to it. Because this is a long show. There's a lot of episodes. If you would have stopped, no one would have blamed you. Like, no one would have been like, oh, well, those bastards, they couldn't finish. Like, no, it's amazing that you're still doing it because other podcasts for shows with a third of the runtime have been like, yeah, we got to tap out. It's too long. So for you guys to do this and to not quit is admirable because, podcasting is hard. Like the repetitiveness of it has to be frustrating. So like, especially those middle seasons, like after the golden run, it has to be difficult. So I really admire what you guys do.
No, I remember the conversation 6 odd years ago where Elliot was like, all these other podcasts doing it chronologically get to, the teens and they die off and we're going to go through all of them. And I'm like, sure we will, buddy. 5 years in the future. Yeah, sure.
And as I said for the first 30 or so episodes, never tapping out. I will beat you, Simpsons. That's my reason for staying alive.
That would be, God help me, I don't want to think about that world where if I have a child and the Simpsons are still running, I'm going to be a little concerned. But it's probably going to, I don't know.
Whereas we've organized a system of clones to take over us should one of us die. BT2.
And if you want to hear more of me and BT, BT, where can they do that?
They can go to patreon.com/SideQuest Studios. That's the umbrella for everything we are doing here. And if you kick us as little as $5 a month, is it, Elliot?
Yes, it is.
Then you too can get access to over, like a full... 80 exclusive podcasts covering all kinds of things where we review the Simpsons DVD and extras, or we catch me up on all the episodes I missed out on when I wasn't there, or our latest show where we review the movies the cast of the Simpsons are on as completely new characters. Which is a lot of fun because we finally get an excuse to review movies, which is something I love doing.
Yeah, I've been really loving doing that show recently. We had the joy of watching This Is Spinal Tap. And
good movie.
Not as much joy of watching Click, but...
it's been a mixed bag at best, but man, is it fun.
Have you guys gotten to Mystery Men yet?
No.
I
hadn't even thought of Mystery Men.
That movie was ahead of its time, y'all. It
really was. I randomly watched it because a friend was kind of like, I watched this the other day and it was actually really good. So I went back and... to be a comic book movie parody before the glut, well before the glut of comic book movies.
Yeah, because it's a 90s movie as well, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So that's wild. That's before even the Spider-Man reboot with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. But if you join up to our Patreon as well, one of the perks is that you decide the movie that we review for starring Springfield. Our show where we review the movies the Simpsons cast have been in. So yes, you out there could make us review Mystery Men. Please make us review Mystery Men. That would be fucking
something awful. But hey, if you're sitting there thinking, but Elliot and BT, times are tough. I don't have that kind of money. Well, you can go to any podcatcher you like, friend, and look for shows such as Thrones of Game, where we review all of Game of Thrones backwards, or Pulp Fury Radio, our fiction scripted podcast covering a range of pulp genres in an original storytelling format written by me and directed by myself and Elliot. There's a variety of free entertainment for you, friend.
There is so much of us out there, and why not? I don't rarely mention it, but we also made a web series, Dave Plus One. Go check that out. That was fun.
I forget about Dave Plus One. I have a lot of fond memories of that show and working on that.
All available on YouTube.
Amazing cast. I love all those cast members. They're fantastic.
Yeah. All right, well, that does it for the Simpsons Index. Once again, thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you guys for having me. Elliot, I almost said your catchphrase, man. That's would have been bad on my part.
That's all the chili in Cincinnati.
Hey, we killed Ryan.
BT, thank you.
So let me get this straight. There are 5 types of chili.
There's more.
I'm gonna have to lie down.
And I've been your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. Yep, that's all the mustard in the house.
All the chili in Cincinnati, come on.
All the chili.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter or Instagram. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode, so we'll catch you next week.